Welcome to Engaging Recapped. The film opens in Cuba where Dom, Vin Diesel, and Letty, Michelle Rodriguez, their honeymoon celebrating. They are looking at a vehicle that has a boat engine in it when Dom's cousin Fernando, Gianmarco Santiago, is getting his vehicle towed by a person named Raldo Celestino Corneal. Fernando attempts to convince Raldo not to tow the vehicle, yet he reminds Fernando of the amount he owes to get it. Dom then strides in to safeguard his cousin, and returns upset when Raldo talks once again to Letty. Dom provokes Raldo to a road race in the event that he wins, he gets Raldo's vehicle, however, in the event that Raldo wins, he gets Dom's Impala. Raldo concurs. Dom changes out the engine in Fernando's vehicle with something more beefed up. He races Raldo in Fernando's vehicle. The two go down the Cuban mile, with Raldo surpassing Dom, until Dom lights the fuel and sends the vehicle taking off through the roads. One of Raldo's folks attempts to attack Dom by tossing his cruiser before the vehicle, yet Dom keeps on riding. In any case, the motor bursts into flames and gets hotter the quicker Dom goes. Dom figures out how to cross the end goal first, yet he leaps out of the consuming vehicle as it flies into the stream. The horde of individuals encompasses Dom and Raldo as they move forward to one another. Raldo takes out his keys to the vehicle and offers it to Dom, alongside his regard. Dom advises Raldo to keep his vehicle, as his regard is adequate. Dom apologizes to Fernando about the vehicle and throws him the keys to his Impala, which, as indicated by Dom, is more fit for a Toretto. The group cheers. Later on, Dom is circumventing town when he sees a lady named Cypher, Charlize Theron, attempting to fix something in her vehicle. Dom assists, however, Cypher then, at that point, addresses Dom by name. He realizes something is going on, and she lets him know she maintains that he should work for her. She takes out a telephone and shows Dom something obviously private to him, leaving him with no decision. We fast forward to Hobbs Dwayne Johnson, giving an energizing speech to an exceptionally prepared group of girls soccer players. He is instructing his little girls group, and is attempting to get them amped as they go facing the rival group. A specialist, D.S. Allen Patrick Saint-Esprit, approaches Hobbs and tells him about an EMP in Berlin that has been recognized with the possibility to take out the power network of whole urban areas. Hobbs consents to the gig, however solely after his girl scores an objective. He later hits Dom to gather together the group for the gig. Dom and Hobbs go to Berlin with Letty, Tej, Ludacris, Roman, Therese Gibson, and Ramsey, Nathalie Emmanuel. They have the EMP in their control and presently have various hooligans on their tails. They take them out with a destroying ball that Tej helped set up. At the point when they get adequately far, they split up. Hobbs rides close to Dom and says thanks to him for the assistance, promising lagers when this is finished. Dom doesn't let out the slightest peep, however at that point bangs into Hobbs' truck, making him crash. Dom takes the EMP and passes on Hobbs to get captured as he illuminates the others that Dom has denounced any kind of authority. Hobbs is secured in a similar jail as Deckard Shaw, Jason Statham, with their cells right opposite one another. Prior to being taken to his cell, Hobbs meets with Frank Petty, also known as Mr. Nobody, Kurt Russell, and his new accomplice, Eric Reisner, who is subsequently nicknamed Little Nobody, Scott Eastwood. Mr. Nobody needs to help Hobbs as well as the other way around, yet Hobbs has no faith in him. At the point when Little Nobody notices Hobbs' daughter, Hobbs holds the person against the wall until Mr. Nobody quiets him down. The remainder of the group is hanging out at a carport, still in dismay that Dom deceived them. At the point when Ramsey questions Dom's reliability, Letty stands up for himself and advises her that if not for him, she wouldn't be alive. In jail, Hobbs and Deckard trade chat before Mr. Nobody has Hobbs' phone entryway open consequently. The gatekeepers come in to return Hobbs, however, Deckard snatches one watchman and utilizations his baton to escape from his own cell, prior to liberating the wide range of various detainees. Hobbs and Deckard make a run for it, fending off the two watchers and prisoners. The two are then met by Mr. Nobody. Hobbs and Deckard join the remainder of the team at Nobody's HQ, as they are informed about Cypher. Deckard knows her since she selected his sibling Owen, Luke Evans, to take the Nightshade, and was likewise associated with getting Mos Jackin to take the God's Eye reconnaissance framework. Since Dom thwarted both those plans, it's a good idea that she would pursue him directly. Letty perceives Cypher's associate Connor Rhodes, Christopher Hivju, from her days working with Owen. Roman proposes they utilize God's Eye to find Dom. At the point when Ramsey attempts to do so, they get hit with signals from one side of the planet to the other. Subsequent to eliminating the most unrealistic regions, they are left with one area, the very construction they are remaining in. A blast goes off and wrecks everybody. Dom and Cypher come in and take God's Eye. As they are leaving, Letty gets down on Dom and inquires as to whether he's truly going to betray his loved ones. Dom doesn't let out the slightest peep, however, Cypher approaches him and kisses him before Letty. At their refuge, Dom asks Cypher for what valid reason she kissed him. She says everything unquestionably revolves around their decisions, and he didn't decide to dismiss her even with Letty watching. We then, at that point, get familiar with the genuine explanation Dom is working with her. She is keeping his previous Fire/Hobbs ex-accomplice Elena, Elsa Pataki, detainee, alongside the child that Dom was never aware of. Elena takes the young man out and says she calls him Marcus, however, that is only his center name, as she believed Dom should pick his most memorable name. Rhodes then presents to Cypher a firearm, which she hands to Dom, and provides him with the decision of shooting her, however first cautions him that they are being watched, and on the off chance that he pulls the trigger, her men will storm in and kill him, in addition to Elena and Marcus. Dom must choose the option to hand the firearm back to Cypher. Cypher's next mission for Dom has him go to New York to get an atomic football with send-off codes from a Russian envoy. Dom makes a stop when he tells Cypher his engine is stuck. Realizing she has eyes on him, he figures out how to cloud himself perfectly positioned while he goes to visit Magdalene Shaw, Helen Mirren, mother of Owen and Deckard. In spite of understanding how Dom treated both her children, he moves toward her with a solicitation for help, interesting to her as a parent. Dom successfully returns to the vehicle before Cypher realizes he left. The team pursues Dom in the city. Cypher and her men hack into almost every vehicle in the city and assume command over them, making them all drive themselves and crash into different vehicles. She even makes vehicles drive themselves out of high parking structures so the vehicle can come tumbling to the ground, sending individuals into a furor. This stops the envoy's limo so Dom can take the football. He takes steps to explode the limo except if they hand it over, which they do. The group makes up for a lost time to Dom and attempts to take him in utilizing snares. Dom figures out how to pull them generally off and sidestep them, and he additionally seems to shoot Deckard dead when they face one another. Letty pursues Dom herself and attempts to advise him that he cherishes her. She snatches the satchel and attempts to move away, with Dom wondering whether or not to pursue her. Rhodes gets Letty and nearly shoots her until Dom holds his firearm up to Rhodes. Letty relinquishes the folder case, and Dom and Rhodes move away. After getting back to the safe house, Cypher communicates frustration at Dom, almost allowing Letty to move away. She is embracing Marcus menacingly while Elena is restricted and has tape over her mouth. Dom is defenseless as he watches Rhodes execute Elena without a second thought, and Marcus begins crying after hearing loud gunfire. The last mission sees Cypher sending Dom to Iceland to assume command over a gigantic conflict submarine. The team heads on done with vehicles given to them by Mr. Nobody and Little Nobody. Dom utilizes the EMP to take out anybody pursuing him until he gets to the submarine to allow Cypher to hack into it. In the meantime, on the plane that she is loading up, she is uninformed that it has been commandeered by both Deckard and Owen. As we learn in a flashback, from the second Dom went to visit Magdalene, he had help from Raldo in staying under the radar. After he shot Deckard and faked his demise, Deckard was gotten by Leo and Santos, Tego Calderon and Weroma, before Magdalene restored Deckard herself. The siblings go through the plane and take out the lowlifes, while Deckard securely recuperates Marcus. He affirms with Dom, who currently has no obvious explanation to keep working for Cypher. Rhodes is prepared to take shots at the team until Dom ventures out and begins battling him. Dom throws Rhodes down onto his vehicle and breaks his neck in retaliation for Elena. He likewise tells Cypher that his son is protected and that he's pursuing her. Cypher assumes command over the sub as her colleagues pursue the group. Dom then acts the hero, ramming into one of the associates' vans and making it fire rockets at different thugs, telling the group that Dom is back. Roman, who took a Lambo, begins to slide down into the frigid water. Tej gets him out by snaring onto the front entryway and hauling Roman out. Roman purposes a way to hammer the bad guys riding in on snowmobiles prior to shooting them. He gets picked up by Hobbs. Cypher then dispatches torpedoes from the sub at the team. Hobbs ventures out and figures out how to move the torpedo with his own hands and send it to one of the miscreants' vans. Cypher then dispatches an intensity-looking rocket at the team. Dom has them separated as it follows him so he can ride it back toward the sub. He jumps the vehicle over the sub and makes the rocket hit the sub, exploding it stupendously. Dom leaps out of his vehicle as it consumes. The blast almost hits him until the group rides in and safeguards Dom from the blazes. As this occurs, Deckard finds Cypher in her plane after she figures out her sub is obliterated. She leaps out of the plane with a parachute and powers Deckard to remain behind as he gets Marcus before he drops out of the plane. Dom and Letty then rejoin and kiss. Yet again Dom and the group get back, now a whole family once again. Mr. Nobody lets Hobbs know that Cypher is still running free and was reputed to be seen in Athens. He and Little Nobody proposition Hobbs his work back, however, he concluded he needs to enjoy some time off and invest more energy with his girl. Deckard then, at that point, shows up and carries Marcus to Dom. The two have a recently discovered regard for one another. With everybody situated at the table for dinner, Dom acquaints his son with everybody with his authority first name Brian. Dom then plunks down to pray. Now I am going to give you the history behind this movie, The Fate of the Furious. The Fate of the Furious, alternatively known as F8, and titled on screen as Fast and Furious 8 internationally, is a 2017 American action movie coordinated by F. Gary Dim and composed by Chris Morgan. It is the continuation of IR 7, 2015, and the eighth portion of The Quick and Enraged Establishment. The film stars Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, close by Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, Michelle Rodriguez, Therese Gibson, Chris Ludacris Extensions, Scott Eastwood, Nathalie Emmanuel, Elsa Pataky, Kurt Russell, Charlize Theron, and Christopher Hivju. The eighth portion was arranged beginning around 2014, and plot subtleties were first reported in Walk 2015, when Diesel showed up on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Furthermore, declared that the film would be set in New York City. Arrangements for the film started preceding the arrival of IR 7, with Diesel, Morgan, and maker Neil H. Moritz remarking. Subsequent to setting an underlying delivery date in that very month, projecting occurred between April and June. In October, Dark was declared to coordinate the movie in the spot of James Wan, who had coordinated the past portion. Arranger Brian Tyler, who had scored the third, fourth, fifth, and seventh portions, got back to form the score. The Fate of the Furious premiered in Berlin on April 4, 2017, and was dramatically delivered in the US on April 14 by Widespread Pictures. It got blended to positive audits from pundits, with acclaim for the exhibitions of the cast and activity successions, however analysis of the storyline. The film was a film industry achievement, netting more than $1.2 billion around the world, making it the 19th film, and the second in the establishment, after IR 7, to ridiculous more than $1 billion, the third most noteworthy earning film of 2017, and the 11th most elevated earning film ever at that point. It additionally netted $541.9 million overall during its initial end of the week, which made it the most noteworthy earning overall opening ever until the arrival of Vindicators. Boundlessness War 2018. The spin-off F9, The Quick Adventure, was delivered in June 2021. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this.